When I was 21, I found myself in the developing world on the Semester at Sea program, and I had a habit of asking one child per country that I went through, what do you want most in the world? And there was a young boy begging on the streets of India who gave me a very surprising answer, and his answer was a pencil. A few years later, I found myself working at Bain & Company, and I thought maybe we could apply some of these principles to the nonprofit sector, and started with $25 in hopes of building one school, and that then became Pencils of Promise. Pencils of Promise breaks ground on a new school every 90 hours. And so at this point, we're approaching our 300th school across 4 different countries. Ideally, what you see is the smaller organizations, the NGOs, the direct service providers sit at the table with the UNICEFs, UNESCOs, UNs of the world, and collectively build a coalition to go and solve for a common problem. I see myself as an entrepreneur who started what is now a high-impact, for-purpose organization. Instead of describing ourselves with the term non by demonstrating what we don't do, let's talk about what we are actually enacting in the world. At the Google Zeitgeist conference, on stage, I shared in front of all these leaders of industry that I thought we should rephrase this sector from nonprofit to for-purpose. And there's this kind of audible gasp, like, in the audience, and I think it was this sense of recognition. It was really important to involve educators in the organization, especially as we scaled, because the truth is I'm an entrepreneur, right? I didn't spend 10 years of my career in the classroom, and oftentimes what you find is the entrepreneurs that disrupt industries aren't those who came from within that industry, and so they had a different lens. Individuals like Leslie and a lot of our specialists that are in the field, they're the DNA of the organization at this point.
I started Pencils of Promise 5 years ago, and I was in Laos for 3.5 years. What the goal was, and the goal in all of our countries that we work, is to hand over operations to a local leader and a local team. And so that was the goal, and that was accomplished, right? I started, it was me, Lanoy, motorbike, a coffee shop, like figuring stuff out. When I left, there's an office, there's over 30 staff, there's 40 schools, and Lanoy leads all of this.
She was really the first hire that we ever made, and a great example of the value of investing in somebody and seeing their growth then ripple throughout a company. I really believe that every single person has a distinct sense of purpose, and once you identify that purpose, you almost become unstoppable because you're able to recognize how uniquely positioned you are in the world to go do something that maybe nobody else can. What'll come next for Pencils of Promise is a shift in the focus and the narrative and the impact of the organization. So, we're known as a school building organization. We've built hundreds of schools around the world. And I think what we're really going to evolve into is a learning organization, is an organization that's focused on education, period. And previously, schools were one of the ways that we increased the access to quality education. I think what people are going to see out of us in the coming years ahead are a really deep focus on teachers, on student outcomes, and on innovation in the classroom.